This is Jay at Red, and I'm going to demo for you today what it looks like when you run hbase on Cloudera's hbase CDH5, which is version 0.98 on top of GlusterFS, as opposed to where you're running hbase on top of the Hadoop distributed file system. So first, we'll look at the file system. GlusterFS is a fuse-mounted file system, so we can see that under mount GlusterFS hbase, we have all of our hbase metadata. You can see the write-ahead logs, and we can see the hbase data tables, and so on. And so now let's go ahead and confirm that since we have two different region servers, let's confirm that first each region server is actually running a hbase region server that's actually online. So we'll do JPS on the first it's the slave region server, the one that doesn't have a master on it. And in my second node, let's run a JPS, and we see that on our master server we have a region server and a zookeeper quorum, a zookeeper node, and a hbase master. Okay, so hbase is up and running, and looks like everything's working fine. Now let's do a couple table inserts to confirm that both of the region servers are indeed accepting data. So let's go ahead and create a new table. So we'll call this guy AA. Ooh, I've been creating some sample tables here, so let's create this sample table, and hbase will decide for us which region server to put the data in. So we should see it pop up in one of the two logs, either on the left or the right side. So we're creating a table. Looks like it was created successfully, and now we're putting some data into it. And now looks like the right side just lit up, and we can see the data flowing in. That means that the region server on our master node is working. Okay, great. And we can see that when we query, we do indeed recover the row. So now let's make a table with a new name. And append some new characters to this guy, and we'll create a new table. And depending on the flip of the coin, we may see this table get created in the other region server, just to confirm that both region servers are able to receive data from our client. And remember, both these region servers are running on top of GlusterFS. And yes, okay, so the second query also worked, and it looks like the region server 1 got this data, and we can see over here that it was the hmaster that got data over here. So we have two different logs, two different servers, and both are working. So it looks like everything worked. So that's the interesting part of the demo. Now what we'll do is we'll go into the details of how we do this using Vagrant. So this is all powered using a Vagrant recipe that is on the GlusterForge website, and I will bring that up right now. Forge.gluster.org, Fedora 19 Gluster. Okay. And let's bring this guy down. Okay. And so if you go to this site, you can clone down this project, and under Gluster HBase example, you'll see the files necessary to spin this up. And Vagrant is really easy to install. You just you can grab the Vagrant RPMs from vagrantup.com, install it, and as long as you have VirtualBox installed on your machine, you can just run Vagrant up inside of this directory, and it will create this 2-node HBase cluster for you. So how does that work? Well, let's exit out of here, and I'm using tmux here. So let's exit out of there, and let's do a vagrant destroy -- force, and we will see that slowly all the nodes go down. Okay, so we've been kicked out all these guys because they've been destroyed. And now let's see if we can spin up the system from scratch. Vagrant up. Okay. And so this does take a minute, so I will pause this recording, and I will resume it about halfway through. Okay, and looks like now we have the first machine has come online, and it is provisioning it. When the first machine comes online, all that we do is I'll show you inside this vagrant file. When the first machine comes online, that's hbase 1, we set its hostname, and we run a setup shell script. And inside this setup shell script, we look at which machine is coming online, and based on the machine that's coming online, we have some different logic. And for the first machine, which is called RS1 because it's called region server 1. For the first machine, we can go to the bottom here of this setup shell script, which is called by vagrant. For the first machine, we create a brick, install basic hbase, and set up SSH. On the second machine, which is the Hadoop, the hbase master, we do the setup of the hbase head node, which involves setting up a Gluster mount, and we also do a simple smoke test of hbase, and we start hbase. So really the main stuff happens when we spin up our hbase master node, which happens after this. So I will pause this recording again. Okay, and looks like we are still installing some packages on hbase 1 here, and getting towards the end of it. These are the Gluster RPMs that are being installed now. And now we are creating a brick on the first machine, and now we're untarring hbase. Once we finish untarring hbase from the Cloudera distribution, we'll move on to spinning up the second machine. And the first machine is now finished provisioning, and now it's going to start setting up the second machine. So it's creating the second box. And now, just for a little sanity check, we can SSH into our first machine while the second box spins up. So SSH, we do vagrant SSH hbase 1. And there we are. And we can see in here that we don't even have a Gluster mount yet. And the reason we don't have a Gluster mount yet is because we don't create the actual Gluster volume until the second machine comes online. Because we want the first machine to be available when we create the Gluster volume, so that we can do everything synchronously and peer probe and whatnot, all in one step when we create our volume. So things seem to be going just fine, provisioning the second machine. We can see that there are no, which one is root, so we can see everything. You can see that there are no Java processes running right now on the first region server. And second window here, we can SSH into the SSH into the master node, which is right now being spun up, and actually Java isn't even available yet. So these machines are definitely being spun up from scratch, as you can see. So we wait a bit longer for the second node to spin up, and I will restart the recording once we make some progress. It's just like the cooking network. And now we are finally making some progress. Our second VM spun up, and no problems at all. We mounted the brick, and now we are untarring hbase onto our second node. And shortly thereafter, we will create a Gluster mount. After we create the Gluster mount, we will move forward with spinning up an hbase master, which will be on the right side over here, and a hbase slave, which will be on the left side. And both nodes will have region servers running on them. HBase. Okay. So here we go. So as we can see, Zookeeper has now come online on the right side, and hbase master has come on the right side, and now the hbase region server has come online on both sides. So this is our second server that we spun up, and this is the first one. And now the smoke test is running. So it's going to wait 30 seconds, and the reason is because there's some namespace stuff that hbase master has to do before you can start running queries. So you don't want the test to fail. So give everybody a chance to catch up here before we start dumping data all over this thing. And this will take us essentially back to the state we were at in the beginning of this video before I destroyed my cluster. So we can tail -f. Okay, so it looks like the test has started, and it's now attempting to insert some data into the into our running hbase cluster. And both nodes are still running, and it looks like a create statement is now being run. No problem so far. We could tail the hbase master, and we could see that there's some data being inserted there. And we were able to recover our column that we just inserted from hbase. So all in all, we were able to spin up a 2-node, completely automated spin up a 2-node hbase cluster on top of GlusterFS. We were able to insert tables on it, and we were able to see in the various teamworks panels that both of the region servers are proactively participating in our little database that we just created. So that concludes this demonstration, and again, I guess for the next step, if you want to go a little deeper, you can go into the code. There's not a lot here. I'll just go through it really quickly before we conclude. We have a very simple bash profile. We have some very simple static files that get copied into our both of the nodes. Each node gets its own customized hbase site XML file. There's one for the master and one for the region server. There's a handy little restart shell script that I didn't show you, but you can run that just to rerun the entire hbase portion. So it deletes hbase and then recreates a completely new hbase setup. So you can hack around with different configurations. And of course, the main components are the setup and the vagrant file, which are what really drive provisioning of the whole system. And we can, when we're done, spin the whole cluster down. And our machines will go to sleep, and now I can go to sleep. Good night.